Deconverted Man here. So I ran across this video. This is Philosophy, Epistemology, the Puzzle of Grue in HD, really, by Wireless Philosophy. Link will be in the description. I want to give this a proper treatment once I have my editing software available again, but right now I don't, so I'll just kind of talk a little bit about some of this. The Puzzle of Grue is a proposed idea that tries to show some flaw in deductive reasoning. All X is Y, Y therefore X sort of thing, and so it introduces this idea, at least in this video, in the following way. So it uses some pictures, so we'll go along with that. So all gems or all emeralds observed have been green, therefore all emeralds are green. Well, before I continue on with the rest of the segment, this is the intro to the puzzle. This isn't the puzzle. This isn't about Grue yet. This is wrong. The person in the video says this is the good argument. No, it's not. This is a bad argument. Yeah, that's a bad argument. Here's why. Black swan fallacy. So what's the black swan fallacy? The black swan fallacy is the fallacy where somebody at some point said all swans are white. There you go. And they were like, nope, we found a black swan. And that was the end of that. As soon as they discovered that black swan, that ruined their day. Because so far, every swan had been freaking white. And here comes this black one just to screw us up. So, observation that X has been true every single time does not necessarily mean that X will be true the next time. And you might be thinking, as I am, I hope, that I think I'm hoping, I don't know anymore. Doesn't that ruin science? Because isn't science kind of based on this? One of the ideas is that the thing that I've tested will again be able to produce the same result. Well, sort of. That's why we run the test so many bleeping times, and then after a certain time we don't need to run that test anymore. We kind of just assume, well, it's been that way this whole time, why would it change now? Kind of, sort of, it works that way, but not really. That's like the very layman's way of thinking about the philosophy of science. It's not really the way things work. So water doesn't boil at a certain point under X, Y, and Z conditions, and we've done that test a bazillion times, and now we've been able to say, well, it's always going to be that way. It's more that not only have we observed that that's true, but we've also unraveled and learned more about the physics about why that's true, so that we can more confidently say the next time we boil water at this certain altitude, it will be able to be boiled after this amount of time, because that's how things work, and we're pretty sure about that unless physics changes. And so far physics hasn't changed, but who knows if tomorrow might be different. But it hasn't been so far, so we're pretty sure that it's not going to be. And if it is, we're probably not going to be around very long to observe it, because if physics changes, we're probably screwed anyways. So, there's that. You have all men are mortal. Well, of course, all humans are mortal. All men, all women, all humans. By man, I mean humankind. This is the original phrasing of it, though. All men are mortal. Socrates is a man, therefore Socrates is mortal. So all X is Y. B is Y, therefore B is X, or... I'm formulating that in my head and not on paper, so it might come out wrong on paper, so don't hold me to it. But nonetheless, it's not that we've observed that all humans are mortal, although we've observed a lot of humans to be mortal. It's that we're able to more quantifiably say, not just that we've observed this over time, not just as a single individual, but as a group have observed that so far every man has been mortal. And there has never been an exception to this. Not just that, but now we also know enough about biology to make the same explanation of why that should be so and why we should expect it to be so. So it's not just quantifiable, it's demonstrably demonstratable and quantifiable in that sense. So if we're going to say that all emeralds are green, as if that is the tautology of what it means to be an emerald. You must have this many sides, you must have this makeup, and you must look green or reflect green light in order to be classified as an emerald. Then the correct phrasing would be, this gem is green, if gems are emeralds. All gems that are green are emeralds. This gem is green, therefore this gem is an emerald. That would be the correct statement if that's what was said here. The observation is irrelevant. Completely and utterly irrelevant. And if you want to include that word, then you'd have to change this to say, thus far, all green, all emeralds, or I can't even say what I want to say now. Thus far, all gems observed have been emeralds, because we're saying that emeralds are green by definition and that gems are green, or you'd say so far all gems observed have been green, and all green gems are emeralds. You need to keep going. Therefore, all green emeralds are gems. I mean, it doesn't work. I can't make this work. But you'd have to say so far. You'd have to add in so far that this is true. And then you'd have to say, therefore, it's plausible that this is true. This would be a hypothetical syllogism, not a deductive one. So that's wrong. Okay, so let's move on. Let's move forward to where he where Grue, which is a cat. Why is it always a cat? Really? Alright, hold on. I gotta make some noises with my body here. Oh my word! I'm not re-recording this. Screw it. Sorry. This is what happens when you don't have enough Patreons to pay for your equipment. Okay. So it's all your fault. Okay, so the thing is, Grue, if it's either observed by now, which is what that, I don't know why, it's just write the word observed, and green. So it's this term if you've observed it and it's that color. If it hasn't been observed and it's blue, then it's also a Grue. But there's a problem here. How the bleep would you know that it's blue if you haven't observed it? So let's let that sink in for a moment. Okay? So I understand that we want to make the tautology of the word Grue to be something that is been observed by now. I'm not sure why the by now, but oh well. And we found that it was green. But when we're not looking, the same thing is somehow blue. How do we know it's blue when we're not looking? I don't know. We would have to have, well, do we mean observation? Well, no, we don't mean any. I mean, could we get around this? Like some loophole? Nope. No loophole here. No observation by humans versus observation by machine. So there's zero way we could ever say that anything was blue when we weren't looking at it. There's no way to do this. We would need some way to measure that it was blue when we weren't looking at it. There's no way to do that. You need to be able to have some sort of test to confirm this. Otherwise, you can't make this part of your epistemology. You can't just say that Grue is this thing as if it's a tautology, because the truth table wouldn't allow for this to happen. And again, the observation is completely irrelevant in terms of that it's been observed by now and green. You don't even need to say this. The thing is Grue if it's green. And if it's not green, then it's blue. But that's not what it's saying. It's saying it's not green if we haven't observed it, and it's blue. Which means that things that we haven't observed that are blue are also Grues? Or, like, what the bleep is a Grue? Is it something that's supposed to be green and we've observed? Okay, so my whole screen should be green, which means I shouldn't be able to see anything at all, because all of it would be green. So let's just go to the world where everything is Grue. Okay, because I'm observing my entire screen, right? I know, I'm getting loud, sorry. Okay, that's better. So now, this is a universe of Grue. Okay, so that's the video I'm now watching. Because the video is also Grue. And if it hasn't been observed yet, but it is blue. So I'm going to get a little circle of blue here. And I'm going to add that in down here. Pretty little circle. Little paint, a little tree here. Okay. Bonus points if you know who that is without looking it up. I had to look it up to find out. Okay. So once I do observe that this is blue, it doesn't change to green, I guess. I'm guessing here now because I'm not really sure. The video didn't really say, but now it has been observed and it is blue, which means that it is not Grue. Not. Can I write the word not? There we go. N. I'll just put N. Okay. Why? Because we've said everything that's observed is that has been observed is either green and also Grue, or it hasn't yet been observed and it's also Grue, but it's blue. So this thing that's blue that I've now observed isn't Grue. I don't know what the bleep it is, but it's not something that I haven't yet observed. But it is blue, but now it's no longer Grue. Do you see the problem? Okay. So this doesn't work. Okay. And it continues. Okay. So this guy, whatever, I don't know. And then it adds in more made up words and tries to make it more complicated, blah blah blah. It doesn't, and then it asks this question: what's the more simplistic term? Is it that green isn't really a simple term, and that Grue is the simple term, or blah blah blah, and then is this wrong? No, this is fine. Well, no. If R if R is S, R, therefore S. Yeah, well, yeah. Okay, it's not written the way I would want it written, but yeah, those are, Q, P, therefore Q. Okay, fine. Fine, these work. There's nothing wrong with them, and making one of them Grue when Grue itself doesn't make any sense doesn't invalidate it. At best, I'm sorry for all the runny nose here. At best, all this does is attempt to bring up an issue which we already know exists in informal logic, which is natural language. We already know that this is a problem. We have far better examples of natural language paradoxes, like the heap of sand thing. You know, you move a grain of sand, it's still a heap of sand. At what point does it stop being a heap? You know, same thing for balding. When does somebody balding? You know, if you lose one hair, are you now balding? Yeah. Gradient. Anything that is sort of a subjective and not hard down nailed term is a problem within informal logic. Formal logic doesn't care. This is formal logic, okay? Informal logic is talking about this, what this is, which is what the video is also talking about. So he's in my territory now. Grue doesn't make coherent sense in a tautological methodology. You have to construct the epistemology of what Grue is and how we came to know that Grue is that thing. And as a bonus, I'm going to want your truth table. If you don't know what a truth table is, it's complicated, lengthy, and boring to explain. And I'll put a link to the a couple of different truth tables so you can learn about it, because it would be a whole nother video just to try to begin to explain truth tables. But basically it's tic-tac-toe, but it's not. No, that's a bad analogy. Forget I said tic-tac-toe. Okay, it's T and F, and then you have the thing, and it's like, is it true under this condition? Is it false? Blah, 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 blah. And it's really tedious and difficult to do. But that is what you make your tautology. You prove. By prove, we mean a different thing than we normally do in this context. But you prove that your tautology is sound with your truth table. And then your epistemology also shows, well, yeah, this is where the word came from. This is how we came to know that this is blah, 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 blah. But with Grue, you have something that you can't do any of that with, because you are saying that it is in this particular set of particular realms in the real world, because you're saying that it's a real world thing, and you're saying that when we aren't looking at something, we can know what the color of that thing is, which is completely and utterly impossible. We can know that when a tree falls in a forest and nobody's around, that it makes a sound, even though the question is supposed to be like deep. If a tree falls in a forest and no one's around, does it make a sound? Yes. Well, but how can sound exist if no one is there to hear it? Because it doesn't depend upon an observation or recording. Sound will still work because that's how things work. Here's some science, go learn it. Blah. What's the sound of one hand clapping? There. Unless you mean clapping must be a thing where you put two hands together. Therefore, there cannot ever be a sound of one hand clapping, by the definition of what clapping is. So your question then becomes a loaded question and something I have to deconstruct in order to answer it. So what's it going to be now? Your move. And this is really my point with Grue. It's nothing more than a logical error. It is equivocation. That's all. Grue is an attempt at equivocation, snuck in by some philosopher to try to dismantle deductive reasoning. It didn't work. It can't work. But I understand how some philosophers might think that it did work. And that's because, I don't know why it's because, it just is, I guess. It's interesting, don't get me wrong, but it's wrong. At least within informal logic, and also formal logic wouldn't care either, because it'd be like, if you could prove that Grue was a thing, which you can't, but if you could do that, then Grue in and of itself would still be applicable within formal logic, but the formulation of that argument would be way more complicated than what this video shows, and would require me to have the ability to edit videos, which my poor computer is just not, it's not doing it anymore, friends. It's toast. It's dead. It doesn't want to do video editing right now. Anyway, so that's my thoughts on the Grue conundrum. Like I said, it's kind of off the top of my head. I'm not really meticulously breaking down everything as well as I could probably. So I've probably made a couple errors here and there. So feel free to point out those errors, and I'll explain in text format what I really meant or what I should have said, and I'll agree with you that I was wrong in saying the things, as long as you point out that I was wrong using logic, critical thinking, and or reason, and not just, hey, you're wrong because whatever, your face, which isn't really an argument. I'm Deconverted Man. My friends call me Dan Green. If you're not one of my friends, you don't get to call me that unless your name is Grue. Wait, what? How does that work? I don't know. Alright, thanks for watching, and that's it.